and welcome back to my blind playthrough of Bloodborne. I'm Hollow, you are you, and it has been a hell of a ride. Now, I think it's going to be the last episode. I think it's going to be the last episode of the playthrough, blind playthrough at very least. I'm sure I'll do other ones some point in the future, whether it be on streams or in a series. You know, I love this game, so I definitely want to do more with it. You look like you're cold, I gotta say. You look like you're cold, yet you're right next to a flame. That's strange. So I just want to have a quick glance through all the things that we've unlocked here in the Insight shop. Just to double check that there's nothing I've really missed in terms of lore or something interesting. Okay, doesn't look like it. And also we have the normal shop, where we have a bunch of stuff that we've had for a long time, but you know, just as always, just want to double check. Man, I kind of wanted to use the repeater pistol, or rather a repeating pistol at some point during this playthrough, but we never got around to it because the cannon, I fell in love with it. But it's definitely something I want to try in a new character maybe. There's just so much of the game that we've not had a chance to use, like the crow stuff. So many weapons that we've not had a good chance to do. So there's just tons of stuff for me to play in my own time, on stream or in videos, that I'm just looking forward to doing. So what we know is to progress the main storyline, nothing side, we need to go through there. And there's something I need to do before I do that. But there's something I need to do before even that. Yeah, getting very meta today. You remember when I went to an altar, the Altar of Despair, after defeating a Great One, the Daughter of Cosmos, which was behind and under the main cathedral of the church, where the choir sort of works. Yeah, there was a Shrine of Despair there, right behind the Great One. And it looked like the Great One had had a child and it died. Now, what we know about Great Ones is, and something I sort of messed up in wording that I need to rectify now, Great Ones, we know this about Great Ones. Great Ones can never have a child for long. Great Ones are destined to have all of their children sort of expire. Their children die. That's what happens. They can give birth, they can have children, but they die for whatever reason. And then they search for a surrogate child. So they use a human to have a child that will survive. Okay, there we go. So I just wanted to say that, yes, they can have children. And we think we saw a child of a Great One. It looked like Rom. And that's why I think Rom must have been a child of a Great One, like an actual child. But somehow it was sustained under the lake. It was able to survive. It wasn't dying, as far as we know. Logically, it should have been. But yeah, there was a shrine there, and we put a bit of flesh on it. What I didn't realise at the time was that was the flesh we'd actually taken from the Queen of the Vile Bloods back at Canehurst. And so many of you have been begging me, Hollow, please, go back to Canehurst. Go look at the throne. Here's a quick recap for you while we're loading in. We went to Canehurst, we found out a lot of information about the Vile Bloods and the group, Ligarius' group, who decided to kill the Vile Bloods. To the point of true hate. And there was an unsent invitation to allow someone to come here. We gave that to Alfred because he wanted to come here to deal with Ligarius and the Vile Bloods. You know, he seemed like a nice enough guy. And he completely and utterly destroyed the Queen. After he'd completed his task, he was so happy. I think he killed himself because his purpose had been achieved. It's a grim world, isn't it, where, oh wow, I achieved my goal. You know, I finally ran 10k miles. Time to kill myself, you know. She's like, man, there's more to life than that. It kind of makes sense in the Dark Souls world, because when an undead loses his purpose, when he loses a goal, he hollows and hollows, it's crazy. He hollows and turns undead and loses his sanity. Whereas in this world, this isn't Dark Souls, so even though he accomplished his goal, couldn't he just come up with something new? Bloody moron. Either way, we've revived her now, which I sort of did accidentally, and I'm very interested in learning the implications of that.
Visitor. Moon-scented hunter. I am Annalise, Queen of Castle Canehurst. Ruler of the Vile Bloods. And sworn enemy of the Church. Yet, our people are murdered. And we are prisoner to this wretched mask. What is it thou art in search of?
I'm gonna do it this time.
Well, well. An odd hunter thou art indeed. We've tired of these piteous nights. Share in our plight, and take oath against the Church. If thou wouldst this path walk, I prithee, partake of my rotted blood.
That's disgusting.
Very well. Drink deep of our blood. Feel the spreading corruption burn. Now, thou art too a vile blood. We two, the very last on this earth.
Corruption and the Canehurst badge. Respect. Mad respect. Offer blood dreg. No blood dregs to offer. I believe this is actually a covenant designed to invade other people's worlds, the Vile Bloods, that's what it's known as. So if I was online, I would go online, hunt players, minding their own business. Once I kill them, maybe I get a blood dreg. I offer the blood dreg to her, and when I offer a certain amount, maybe I increase my reputation with this guild or group, you know, this covenant, and then unlock some cool items and stuff and lore. So that's unfortunately not something I'll be doing on this character, but it's just something I wanted to acknowledge.
We await thy return for the honor of Canehurst.
I think it's really interesting that that ritual altar. The question is, does that mean the Great Ones are able to restore someone from death? I don't think so, because she wasn't dead. This vile blood that she seems to have inside of her, whether I now have that vile blood in me, seems to make her immortal. But as we've seen, the immortality comes at a price. She could have her legs broken or taken away, her arms, her head, everything, and she'd still be alive technically, but she'd be completely a creature of, I guess, survival, you know, and there'd be nothing to her. That would be it. All she would care for is survival, and she'd have no thoughts, no brain, no nothing, but she'd still technically be alive. What we did by giving her flesh to the altar, maybe we didn't necessarily bring her back to life, but maybe it helped reform that gross flesh that we put. It sort of reformed the queen. Or maybe it had something to do with like reversing time or something. We don't really know. I don't really know. Let's have a quick look at those items then. So firstly we have the Corruption Rune, a secret symbol left by Kyle and Runesmith. Several runes contain a nuance of blood, including the Rune of Corruption, associated with the Oath of the Corrupt. Pledges to this oath are Canehurst Vile Bloods, hunters of blood who find dregs for their queen in cold blood, particularly in that of hunters. Yeah, so you go to other people's worlds, you kill all the hunters. Yet the corrupt are heretics in the eyes of the church, and thus subject to the wrath of the executioners. Executioners of the church, just people who are sort of being told what to do, where, and being pointed, like the army of the church. It allows you to have continued healing when you're near death. That's interesting. Versus more healing from a vial. As you can see, this is the nega church, and this is the church. It's like holy and dark, you know, light and darkness right here. One heals you when you're low on health. One heals you through standard means. It's interesting to think about. But there you go. We also have the badge. The Canehurst badge. Badge of the Royal Guards of Canehurst. Loyal guardians of the Vile Blood Queen Alice. The Vile Bloods are hunters of blood and hunt prey as they search for blood dregs. The hunter who joins them is faced with a decision to merely borrow their strength or to become one of them, heart and soul. Yeah, so there's some hunters who joined, became part of the Vile Blood Covenant just to use their strength, to use their benefits for their own sort of purposes. Or hunters have become true Vile Bloods, completely and utterly dedicated to the cause and worshipping the Blood Queen. It's funny, we've met sort of two Blood Queens, haven't we? The queen that was in front of Murgo's wet nurse boss battle in the Nightmare, that Blood Queen, and there's also the Vile Blood Queen. Two types of blood, two types of queens. Aha! We now have access to the Canehurst armor. Can buy it from the shop. I knew that there'd be something. Look at that! So the weird helmet completely covers their face. Silver helmet worn by the Royal Guard to protect Annalise, Queen of Valbloods. This paper-thin silver armor is said to deflect blood of ill intent, and is what allows the Royal Guard to capture prey for the beloved Queen, so that one day she may bear a child of blood. What? Well, actually, I suppose that kind of links towards the whole Canehurst Royals are the ones that Great Ones usually want to use as their holders of the babies, I guess. Their surrogates. So, I guess it makes sense that the Vile Blood Queen would also want to be one of those. Yeah, no real new description there. Well, there you go. That's the armor set. I haven't sort of actually bought it because I don't have enough echoes for it, but it looks kind of cool. Looks kind of neat. Maybe I'll run that on a different character at some point. Kind of interesting. Now, you know what we've got to do. We have to fortify our weapon at last. We still haven't done it. We still haven't done it. We're not plus 10 on the Logarius wheel. Here we go. Weapons Master. You've earned a trophy. Wonderful. Plus 10. Achieved. And we're also going to upgrade the cannon. Oh, wait, we're already on plus 9. Okay, cool. What about blood gems? Can we put any blood gems in the cannon? I don't think you can at this point. No, it seems like the cannon would be too OP if you gemmed it or something, maybe. I mean, that makes sense. Okay, so there's one thing now I finally have to do before we go through this gate that I'm really excited for, because Gehrman, I really hope, Gehrman, I really hope you have some answers for me, because that area looks creepy as fuck. Let's see all those flowers. Okay, yeah, the thing that I want to talk about is apparently in the editing, I somehow accidentally cut out that I'd picked up the third umbilical cord. I have it, guys. I'm sorry. I don't really know how that happened, but apparently you guys didn't see me pick up the umbilical cord. I have it. So, we have 3/3 of an umbilical cord. Think about the two church groups, right? So we have Menzies and we have the choir. They both wanted power and understanding, but they tried to understand in different ways, and it led to very different paths. We had two great ones, right? Two great ones, as far as we know, on each side. A great one that was in the Nightmare, which was just a flesh, maggot, brain thing of eyes, right? And that was sort of proof that, yeah, insight and that type of stuff is lining your brain with eyes. We literally saw physical evidence of it, right? So it's kind of cool. A great relic, also known as a Cord of the Eye. They were using the concept of insight and eyes lining their inside of their head to achieve their goals. And we see this umbilical cord is actually covered in eyes. And the choir found a different way to progress and achieve their goals and sort of understand the Great Ones and all that. They used the chalice, the Great Isis chalice. They found it much later, and it became the cornerstone. Like I said, the cornerstone, the choir is what they used to have an audience with the Daughter of the Cosmos. So that was the Great One. That was the one they interacted with. That's how they interacted with it. They used blood in a chalice, and then the Menzies group used eyes. I think it's interesting that they found separate ways to achieve their goals, as similar as they were. Alright, let's do this. The law of each umbilical cord. A great relic, also known as the cord of the eye. Every infant great one has this precursor to the umbilical cord. So every infant great one has one of these umbilical cords. Every great one loses its child and then yearns for a surrogate. The third umbilical cord precipitated the encounter with the pale moon, which beckons the hunters and conceived the hunter's dream. And then when you use it, you gain insight, and so they say, eyes on the insight, although no one remembers what that truly entails. So when I use this, I'm going to gain insight, and it references that insight gives you eyes on the inside. I feel like this is going to be a really bad idea, guys. A really bad idea. So this third umbilical cord caused the encounter with the pale moon, which created the hunter's dream. And also beckoned hunters. Alright, so this one's different on the middle. Every great one loses its child, yep. Ah, this is the Udon. This is the Udon one. So this is the one I got from the Woman of the Night's baby. Every great one loses its child, and Udon, the formless great one, is no different. To think it was corrupted blood that began this eldritch liaison. I don't really know what that's referencing. Actually, no, I do know what it means. The Woman of the Night was potentially a royal of Canehurst. Potentially, and probably, she had vile blood in her. She escaped. Right? She went to the chapel of Udon. Udon must be inside of the chapel. He must actually be there. He's a formless great one, meaning he holds no actual form. There's no way to see him, but he's still there. We sent all those people to the chapel of Udon, where a great one is hiding. He's actually there. We brought a vile blood from Canehurst into Udon Chapel, and Udon saw that. We know all great ones yearn for a surrogate. They yearn for a new child using a surrogate, right? We brought this vile blood woman in, and then Udon's like, oh my god, that is someone I can use to have a child. I'm going to do that. And that's exactly why she had to give birth to that monstrosity. Because I put her in the place where Udon resides, and Udon used her. Maybe Udon's the reason why the old woman went mad. Why the that church woman also went completely batshit insane. Udon must have been fucking with them. And the little beggar as well. The beggar, he was really creepy. All he wanted was me to bring people to the church, anyone I could. I'm wondering if Udon... I'm wondering if that was Udon. I'm wondering if the beggar in the church of Udon was actually a great one. Maybe that's not right. He didn't look like any of the other great ones. They all had sort of similar traits. But his skin was like burned black, charcoal black. And he had like long, thin limbs. And he has those really stick hands. I wonder if on his hands he has that little like circle to show that he can summon portals. That great one magic that they have. The cosmos magic. Holy shit. He might have been Udon. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like this is quite a jump. He could have just... Maybe Udon was just using him. You know, getting in his brain. Making us bring people for Udon to use. But we know Udon's been fucking with people in the chapel. And it's sort of our fault. Because we brought them there. Holy shit. We have a rune of Udon, right? It's like a creepy ass smiling face. There. Formless Udin. The Great One Udin, lacking form, exists only in voice and is symbolized by this rune. Yeah, so he can speak to you, even though he doesn't have a form. Those who memorize it enjoy a larger supply of quicksilver bullets. Human will know that oozing blood is a medium of the highest grade and the essence of the Formless Great One. Udin. Both Udin and his inadvertent worshippers seek the precious blood. I don't know what that tells me, but I gotta say that's a creepy looking rune. It looks like a fucked up smiley face. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is some serious lore. Alright, so there's a theory, I guess. And the final umbilical cord. Every great one loses its child, yep. This cord granted Menzies audience with Murgo, but resulted in the stillbirth of their brains. Granted Menzies audience with Murgo? Isn't Murgo a baby that never existed, or so we thought? Murgo's wet nurse definitely wasn't human, was it? It had like 8 arms. I don't think that thing was ever. I think that thing was ever human. And it was the wet nurse. I guess I have to acknowledge it because some people were saying, do you not know what a wet nurse is, Hollow? Because I didn't say what it was. That doesn't mean I don't know what something is. Anyway, wet nurse is basically woman has child, woman doesn't want to or has some sort of reason as to not breastfeed child herself. So a wet nurse is just someone who breastfeeds the child for the mother. Meaning that weird demon thing was feeding itself to Murgo the baby. I'm thinking maybe that Blood Queen was the mother of Murgo. And we saw when we left she did this like little gesture when we defeat the wet nurse. And she was crying the entire time. And the baby was crying. When I defeated the wet nurse, the baby stopped crying. It calmed down and stopped crying. Maybe the wet nurse was forcing the child Murgo to... I don't want to get into the specifics, but yeah, it wasn't into that. And the mother wasn't into that. But she couldn't do anything about it. Maybe Murgo was just another... We saw there was blood on the Blood Queen's sort of stomach. Maybe Murgo was like another surrogate of a Great One and became like a formless Great One. And they used this cord to have an audience with him. But it caused them all to have a still birth of their brain. Like, it caused their brains to stop working, pretty much. They just became dead. Which may explain why there was all those people with the cages in their heads, sat in those chairs. Just dead. Just sat there until they completely rotted and turned to bone. Skeletons. Maybe. Either way, they weren't happy with that result, I gotta say. That's probably not good, right? Murgo might have been a formless Great One. I think that's really interesting. Now, I apologize for just having a massive, like, 20-minute lore session there before what we assume is going to be the end of the game, but these are things that I want to cover. These are things I want to talk about. So I guess I'll put, like, a text thing before I go on this massive rant and come up with my own theories there, in case people aren't interested. But I think that's really interesting. Alright, boys. Used to gain insight. So they say. Eyes on the inside. Although no one remembers what that truly entails. This doesn't seem like a good idea. This seems like a really bad idea. Like, nothing about this feels logical after all the shit we've seen. We now have eyes on the inside of our head, just like that Great One we destroyed, right? What the shit are we gonna see? And you know, while we're here, I mean, I guess since we've got like 92 or something insight, we may as well use all of these. Why not? 99 insight, max insight achieved. Here we go. What is this? It's a big area. What are these, like, crosses? There he is. I can see alright, there he... And there's the tree that we was talking about. Okay. It'd be funny if I go through here and Gateman's just like, hey, why haven't you been? I've just been waiting for you for ages. Anyway, thanks for hunting everyone and stopping Murgo from crying all the time. It was really annoying. It was giving me a headache, that baby, crying all the time. It's giving me a real bad headache. Thanks for stopping it. Alright, bye. And then there's just credits roll. That'd be terrible. Here we go. Gehrman? Buddy? I think he's awake.
Good hunter, you've done well. The night is near its end. Now, I will show you mercy.
What?
You will die, forget the dream, and awake under the morning sun. You will be freed from this terrible hunter's dream.
What? You want me to die so I'm free from the hunter's dream? You want me to stop being a hunter? Nothing you've done so far has led me to think that you're a bad person, I guess, but I don't think you are who you say you are. I don't think your name's even Gehrman, because remember when he said, my name is Gehrman, it just didn't, it didn't seem that was even his name. I think this is a really big decision, guys. It's going to affect the end of the game. Do I trust him? This is my choice at the end of the day. Being free from the stream doesn't seem like a good thing, right? You know, like, you know, being immortal almost, you know? But we've seen so many hunters go mad from it. And Gehrman, when he's been saying things in his sleep, he's trapped here. He hates it here. He's forced to just remain here, always, it seems. He's like linked to it, chained to it. This must be where he is when he disappears. You know, he never disappeared, he's just here. Stuck. Trapped. That's not a life I want. It drove Gehrman mad, I guess, in a way. Notice how he's only got one leg? I never noticed that before. Okay. I accept the mercy.
Farewell, my keen hunter. Fear the blood.
Is that a scythe? Holy shit! Gehrman looks so fucking...
Farewell, good hunter. May you find your worth in the waking world.
So that ending resulted in me surviving the night, defeating all of the monsters, killing everything I was supposed to, and in the end, my reward was freedom from it all. I get to go live a life free of everything. I get to go do whatever I want, and I am free from the nightmare. I'm no longer a hunter. If I had refused, what would have happened? It didn't seem logical to refuse. But remember, I consumed the umbilical cords. I have eyes on the inside of my head. I have what Willem wanted. There's no way I could live a normal life like that now, right? I'll be completely mad. I don't accept that ending, to be honest with you. I feel I've very mixed emotions about that. Well, I'm gonna find out what the other ending is. In a little bit of time, however long, not too long, I'm going to complete the game again. And I'm going to see what the other ending is, and I'm going to share it with you guys. And share my first reactions to it. So, if you want to look up the other endings, go ahead. But you will see them on this channel at some point. I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who joined me for the series. It's been an amazing roller coaster ride. And I really hope you enjoyed it. I've loved all the theories. I've loved the gameplay of the game, the story, your interactions, the artwork. This has got to be one of my favourite games of all time, but I'm not satisfied with that ending. And that's why I need to find the other endings. But I completely and fully intended to play through the game many times. Thank you for joining me. I've been Hollow. You've been you. And I'll see you next time for some more Bloodborne goodness. This doesn't feel like freedom.